You know that old golf saying, hold it like a baby bird. Or maybe you've heard, like a tube of toothpaste, don't squeeze it all out.
Right, those classics.
For ages, golf coaches have given advice like that about grip pressure. But what if? What if the real key to more clubhead speed, more distance, isn't about how softly you hold it?
Hmm.
What if it's more about your underlying ability, your capacity to hold it?
Yeah.
Today on the deep dive, we're going to unpack this really surprising, maybe crucial connection between your actual grip strength and how far you hit the ball. We want to go beyond the usual advice, you know?
Absolutely, and dig into some fascinating tech and some actual hard data.
Exactly.
It's a topic golfers have talked about forever, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Often just based on feel or these metaphors.
It's a metaphor.
For a long time, the conversation was pretty limited, really. But this deep dive, I think it'll show you how precise measurements and some really cutting-edge tech are showing us what's really foundational in the swing.
Moving past the anecdotes.
Moving past anecdotes to, yeah, concrete insights.
Okay, let's get into it then. So for years, like you said, the advice is, aim for a 5 or 6 out of 10, pressure-wise.
Right, that subjective scale.
But what exactly do we mean when we talk about grip pressure compared to grip strength? Why does that difference matter so much?
That's a really important question. We absolutely need to define our terms clearly here. Grip strength. That's your raw power, your static capacity.
Yeah.
It's the maximum force your hands can actually produce when you just squeeze as hard as you can. Think of it like your absolute physical limit.
Got it. Max squeeze.
Exactly. Grip pressure, though, that's different. That's the percentage of that maximum strength you're actually using at any specific moment during the swing.
Okay. The percentage you're applying.
Right. And crucially, it's also about where that pressure is. Is it more in your lead hand, your trail hand?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe most importantly, it's about when, during the swing, you apply that pressure. So it's way more dynamic, more complicated than just sort of a general squeeze level.
So it's not just about how hard you think you're squeezing, is it? It's your actual potential, your capacity, and then how you use that capacity in the right spots at the right times.
That's it. That's a critical distinction.
Right.
And what's really fascinating here is how technology has just completely changed how we understand all this.
Yeah. How so?
Well, maybe 15 years ago, we were literally trying to, wrap pressure mats around golf grips. It was awkward.
Oh, I can imagine. Fiddly.
Yeah, and the data wasn't great, often inconsistent.
Mhm.
But now we have drivers with pressure sensors built right into the grip, like the Sensor Edge technology, for example.
Yeah, built in.
Yeah. And this lets us dynamically track the force, the pressure, with incredible accuracy as the swing happens. It's like getting a real X-ray view into the grip.
That sounds like a total game changer. So, okay, a player swings with one of these clubs. What does the tech actually show you? What data pops out?
It gives us a ton of information, actually. We get a heat map showing pressure across the whole
A
grip.
heat map, cool.
Yeah. It quantifies exactly how much pressure is coming from the lead hand versus the trail hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives us this dynamic graph showing how pressure changes over time through the entire swing.
Whoa.
Now, it doesn't quite map to, say, specific finger muscles, but it gives us more than enough data for a really precise analysis of what each hand is doing and, where those pressure peaks are happening.
Okay, that's the pressure side. What about measuring that raw static grip strength you mentioned, that maximum capacity number? How do you get that?
For static strength, it's pretty simple, actually. We use a hand dynamometer.
Okay.
You can find them online easily.
Hmm.
A player just squeezes it as hard as they possibly can. That gives a static grip force measurement.
Right.
So, for instance, a player might produce, say, 50 kilograms. That's about 110 pounds of grip strength.
Okay. And do you adjust it or anything?
Yeah, we use a thin setting on the dynamometer
Yep.
just to try and mimic the feel of a golf grip for consistency and measurement.
Right? Makes sense. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. We've got the tech, we can measure this stuff, but what do the numbers actually tell us about performance, on the course?
Does it matter?
Yeah, does higher grip strength actually mean better shots?
Well, if you look at the data,
Mm-hmm.
the answer seems to be a pretty clear yes.
Okay.
There was one study involved over 130 golfers. It showed a really strong correlation. As grip strength goes up, clubhead speed tends to go up too.
Huh. A direct link.
Yeah. And this isn't just like one finding. It's consistent across a lot of different research. Now, high grip strength doesn't automatically guarantee you'll swing fast.
Sure, other factors involved.
Exactly. But what we see over and over is that low grip strength, That's almost always a major limiting factor for clubhead speed. It really seems to be a performance foundation.
That's a big insight. So if you're listening and you've been wondering, why can't I get more speed? This could be a huge piece of the puzzle.
It really could.
Are there like specific numbers, thresholds where you start to see grip strength becoming a real issue for golfers?
Yeah, we've definitely observed some patterns. For amateur men, typically we start seeing swing compensations, things like releasing the club early, shallow attack angles,
Yeah.
inconsistent loading.
Bad habits creeping in.
Exactly. That often happens if their grip strength is below about 40 kilograms.
Okay, 40 kilograms for men. What about women?
For amateur women, that threshold seems to be around 30 kilograms.
Right.
And then you look at the other end, tour-level grip strength, usually above 60 kilograms.
60. Wow.
Yeah. And long drive pros, often even higher than that. It just shows how critical it seems to be for that really top-tier performance.
So it sounds like having low grip strength almost, it almost forces golfers into bad habits, just to try and keep hold of the club, basically, instead of letting them make an optimal swing.
That's exactly how it seems to work. It's almost like low grip strength puts your swing in a kind of straitjacket. You simply can't perform the ideal movements because your body is sort of subconsciously just trying to maintain control of the club.
Right. Self-preservation kicks in.
Precisely. Players with these grip deficiencies, they often struggle with the transition. They can't hold lag effectively, They can't accelerate confidently through impact.
So what do they do instead?
Well, this can lead to compensations like casting the club, releasing the wrist way too early,
Yeah, scooping it.
or making these excessively long backswings,
Yeah.
trying to reduce tension maybe, or just regain some kind of control. We even saw this one example in the data. A player was peaking at 95% of their max grip capacity during transition.
95%.
Yeah, I mean, they were basically redlining their grip on every single swing.
Wow.
So for that player, just increasing their overall capacity would be hugely beneficial. It would stop them hitting that absolute max effort all the time.
That's a really powerful image, redlining your grip. It makes total sense. If your body's putting that much effort just into holding the club, it can't possibly execute the rest of the swing efficiently.
No, exactly. What really stands out is just how foundational this grip strength thing is. It's not only about raw power, it's about giving the player the capacity, the freedom to make an uninhibited, efficient swing
Without fighting the club.
without subconsciously making compensations just to maintain control. Yeah, it unlocks that freedom in the swing.
This all sounds super compelling. So, okay, for someone listening right now thinking, okay, maybe this is me, what can they actually do? How do you build this crucial strength?
Well, there are things you can do in the gym, definitely. Exercises like farmer's walks.
Okay, yeah, carrying heavy weights.
Exactly. You hold heavy dumbbells or kettlebells and just walk. Excellent for overall grip strength. Deadlifts, too, especially without using straps.
Right, forces the grip to work.
Totally. Or using fat grips on barbells or other gym gear. That can really ramp up the forearm and grip activation.
Okay, so general gym stuff helps, but what about like golf-specific training, stuff that applies directly to the swing, not just lifting weights?
Yeah, good question. That's where tools like the Super Speed Squeeze can come in.
Ah, the squeeze. Okay, what is that?
It's basically a silicone sleeve, and it just fits over a standard golf club grip. Makes it thicker, essentially.
Gotcha.
And there are protocols. Level 1 involves things like static holds, burst squeezes,
Yep.
motion drills, really building that foundational strength.
Okay.
Then level 2 gets more dynamic. It focuses on applying that strength during those really critical swing positions, takeaway, transition, and especially through impact.
And have you actually seen results using these protocols? What kind of gains are we talking about?
Oh, absolutely. The results have been really impressive, actually. We saw players who trained, say, 3 times a week with just the level 1 stuff
Yeah.
for only 4 weeks.
Yeah.
They saw grip strength increases of about 5 to 6%.
Wow, in just 4 weeks.
Yeah. And on average, these same players gained 1.5 miles per hour in driver club speed.
1.5 mil. That's significant for amateurs.
It really is. And the protocols are simple. You can do them anywhere, pretty portable, and they seem really effective at building that specific strengths right where you need it in the golf swing.
So, okay, there are lots of general grip trainers out there, the spring-loaded things, squeezing tennis balls.
Sure. Rice buckets.
Right, rice buckets. But the benefit of something like the super speed squeeze is that it helps you feel the right pressure in the actual golf motion. Is that the idea?
That's exactly the idea. That direct transfer to performance is really key. It's not just about building general hand strength, like opening a jar.
Right.
It's about building it in a way that translates directly to how you hold and, importantly, control the club during the actual swing.
Makes sense. Is it only about power and speed, though? Or are there maybe some other, I don't know, unexpected benefits to building grip strength that golfers might not even think about?
That's a great point. There are also potentially significant benefits for injury prevention.
Oh, how so?
Well, isometric training, which is basically what static squeezing is, it seems to be really good for conditioning the tendons and
Yep.
ligaments in the hands, wrists, forearms. It's generally less stressful on the joints compared to really dynamic movements. And there's some evidence linking it to reducing common problems like elbow tendonitis, golfer's elbow, tennis elbow.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's an area that definitely needs more study, for sure. But the potential link is promising for just long-term golf health, staying injury-free.
Okay, so we've hit strength, we've hit pressure. Let's shift gears a bit to the actual grip itself, the thing you hold on to. Does grip size matter? And how does that connect to everything we just talked about?
Oh, it really does matter. Quite a lot, actually. And surprisingly, the data suggests many amateurs are using the wrong grip size for them.
Really? How do you know what's right?
Well, here's the counterintuitive part. Your hand size, like glove size, it actually doesn't correlate that well with what the optimal grip size is for performance.
Get out. Really?
Yeah, grip strength seems to be a much better indicator.
So stronger players need smaller grips.
Yeah. Other way around, often. Players with low grip strength, even if they have small hands, often benefit significantly from using midsize or even jumbo grips.
That seems completely backwards. Why would a larger grip help someone with lower strength? Wouldn't that make it harder to hold on?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But actually, no. Larger grips often allow players to produce more functional strength with less perceived pressure.
Less effort to get the same hold.
Kind of. And crucially, this helps stabilize off-center strikes much more effectively. Think about tennis for a second.
Okay.
If you hit the ball off-center on the racket wants to twist in your hand, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Same idea in golf. More effective grip strength, often helped by a properly sized larger grip for those who need it, helps control that club face twist better, especially on imperfect contact.
Ah, so better results on mishits.
Exactly. More consistency, less dispersion, even when you don't hit it dead center.
That's a great analogy. Okay, are there any other, telltale signs, clues that someone might have a grip strength issue or maybe a pressure control issue that they should look out for, besides just tracking speed?
Yeah, there are a few things. If you find you're constantly burning through your golf gloves, like right at the heel pad of your hand,
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
that can be a sign of insufficient pressure control, maybe during transition or impact. The club might be slipping just slightly in your hands.
Okay, makes sense. Anything else?
Also, players with really low grip strength, they famously struggle hitting out of thick rough.
Well, absolutely. The club just gets grabbed.
Exactly. It twists open or closed. Some tour pros even will actually choose to lay up from thick rough sometimes, simply because they know they can't stabilize the club face well enough to power through it reliably.
Wow, even pros. That says a lot. What about swing weight? People worry about that when they change grips. How does a bigger grip affect that?
Yeah, that's a common concern. A larger, heavier grip can reduce the club's swing weight, make it feel lighter in the head.
Right.
Now, that might actually, maybe counterintuitively, be beneficial for some players with lower grip strength, because a heavier swing weight demands more control, more capacity.
Ah, okay. So lighter might be easier to manage.
Potentially. But thankfully, nowadays, some of the larger grips are made with really lightweight materials, specifically to minimize that swing weight change, so you can get the benefits of the larger size without drastically altering the club's feel.
Good to know. Okay, what about the short game? Chipping, pitching, finesse shots. Does the strength equals speed idea still hold? Or is it more nuanced around the greens?
Yeah, it's definitely more nuanced there. For
Yeah.
shorter shots, grip pressure is still really dynamic, but it's all about control, not raw power, obviously.
Right, touch and feel.
Exactly. Better players, they vary that pressure intentionally, often using a much lower percentage of their maximum capacity. That's what the idea of soft hands comes from.
Okay, so they have the capacity but choose not to use it all.
Precisely. It gives them better control, better feel around the greens. Conversely, what you often see with lower-level players, if they might actually spike their grip pressure, even on short, delicate shots.
Squeeze it tight.
Yeah. And that can just completely kill that crucial feel you need for touch shots. Leads to, chunks,
Yeah,
blades.
hitting it fat or thin. Gotcha. What else makes a difference with the physical grip? Beyond size, texture, taper.
Oh, texture matters a lot. If your grips are worn out, smooth, shiny,
Guilty.
yeah. Or if they're made of naturally low-friction material, you simply have to apply more pressure just to hold the club securely.
Right, you're fighting the slippiness.
Exactly. Whereas softer, maybe tackier grips, they increase the friction between your hands and the club,
Yeah.
and that reduces the amount of pressure you need for secure control.
Makes sense. What about tapered versus non-tapered grips? Big debate there sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, there isn't really conclusive data yet saying one is definitively better across the board. It seems likely it's more subjective. Player comfort, feedback, that should really drive testing there. See what feels best and performs best for the individual.
Okay, so lots of factors. Bringing it all together then, what does the future look like for sort of golf customization in this specific area, given everything we now know about grip strength and pressure?
Well, I think proper fitting is key, and that fitting process really needs to include not just, hand measurement, but also pressure testing, maybe with tech like sensor edge, and definitely grip strength assessment using dynamometers. That's the future.
So using those dynamometers we talked about earlier.
Yeah, even the cheaper models you can buy online can give you usable benchmarks. The key is just using consistent settings when you test and then tracking your improvements over time. Understand your baseline, see how training affects it, and really dial in your grip for your unique swing and strength level.
We've really covered a lot today, haven't we? Grip strength, pressure, tech, training, fitting. What really stands out to me is that building your grip strength seems to have pretty much no downside for your golf game.
Seems that way, doesn't it?
It looks like it reduces those bad compensations, it increases your control, improves consistency. It just leads to better golf right across the board.
Yeah, if we try and connect it all back to the big picture, grip strength isn't just, another number in the gym. It really does seem to be a true performance foundation in golf.
Right.
Without enough of it, players just inevitably hit these mechanical limits. They have to make compensations. But with sufficient grip capacity, well, they unlock the potential for higher speeds, much better control, and ultimately more efficient, more powerful swings,
Yeah.
from the driver all the way down to the wedges.
This deep dive has really unpacked that whole relationship, hasn't it? Between how you hold the club and how you actually perform. So next time you pick up a club, maybe think beyond that baby bird idea for a second. What if the real key to unlocking your potential isn't just how gently you hold it, but the actual strength you have available to hold it effortlessly, securely? What small adjustment, maybe, or what little bit of training, based on what you've heard today, what might that unlock for you? A whole new level of control, maybe, more power. Definitely something to think about.